Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pits of Motorcast. This is Joe's Dave. I got a line special guest drag racer Jeff Lumbert. How you doing, Jeff?
I am fantastic. How are you tonight?
Good. So I saw you did a little racing with the Pro E85 guys up there at Cordova.
Yeah, we actually blew a front tire going through the lights. Um, Not exactly sure what happened, but definitely lost the front tire. And it went a little to the right. We got a little sideways, got into the grass a little bit, but fortunately didn't damage anything on the car. I think we scared the emergency crew more than anything that day.
Now, do you run on that E85 gas too?
Actually, we run on methanol, but E85 guys needed a couple cars to help fill a field. And we're good friends with a lot of those guys. The very first time we ever took my car out, we actually were running with that group, just as an exhibition. So anytime they need a little extra help, they'll give us a call and say, can you help fill our field? And I'm more than happy to help out.
Yeah, that's awesome. So now, what kind of car you guys got? A Bel Air?
Mine's a '57 Chevy Bel Air. It's a full tube chassis with a fiberglass body. I got a 582 cubic inch big block Chevy with we kind of wanted to build something really cool and old school. So I guess you could almost call it a nostalgia pro mod. It's got the old style mechanical fuel injection on it. There's nothing really electronic on it. The MSD box is an MSD7, so we don't have a grid or anything in it. So to pull timing out or put timing in throughout the run, it is what it is. But this was the very first drag car that my brother and I ever built. So we kind of wanted to keep it simple, but we wanted to make something really cool as well.
Awesome. So what got you into drag racing in the first place?
From a little kid, my uncle was a drag boat racer. So I remember, riding around in his boat on the river. And if you look on the side of the door, the race card actually says the river rats have left the river. And it's because as I was growing up, as kids, my brothers and I were at the water all the time. And we were always in the water. So the family started calling us a bunch of little river rats. And, now the rats have left the river, so, we're into drag racing. But he would drag race boats at Barney's Island for a number of years. And then he kind of stepped up and went to a top fuel hydro, and certainly not something he could race up at the island. So, watching that, being a part of it, we kind of toured around the country with him, working on the motor and learning what it takes to go drag racing. And kind of got the passion for it from working with him, and then was finally able to scrape enough pennies together to build something that I wanted, and we did it. It took us 5 years to put it together, but we're finally out there running around having a good time.
So what year did you bring the Bel Air out?
Last year was the first year, so 2018 in September was the very first run I had ever made down a drag strip. So the very first time we went down the drag strip, we ran a 924 at 132 miles an hour. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a little nervous, a little scared. But it was probably one of the greatest feelings ever. And now we're just still doing it and trying to go a little bit faster each time.
So what's the quickest pass you've had now?
We've been 850 at 161 miles an hour.
And what track was that on?
That was at Union Grove, the Great Lakes Dragway.
Now, do you still run at Union Grove?
We will run up there. We run with the Classic American Muscle Association.
Okay.
So if we don't have another race we're going to go to, we will certainly run up there. It's a great group. We love the track. One of the best things I think about Union Grove is the return road comes in front of the stands. So we get to wave at the crowds and kind of get that happy feeling as we go by the stands.
Now, are you running this weekend with the Nitro Streetcar Brawl?
Actually, this weekend we're going to be at Joliet for the Route 66 Classic. I'm actually going to do some match racing with Joe Beach. He runs in the Pro E85 group.
Right, I know Joe.
So we're going to do a little match racing, kind of put on a show, and we've already talked to the guys in the tower and told them that we're cousins, and we're trying to make a little family battle out of it. So he's got a blown big block car on ethanol, and I've got an unblown big block car on methanol. So we'll kind of play up that whole thing. We'll probably have a little staging duel and see who can do the longest burnout, that kind of stuff.
So next time you'll be at the Grove would probably be Labor Day weekend then?
Probably.
Because that's the last big event of the year.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the next time we're going to be there.
Yeah, the Time Machine Nationals.
Yeah. Sounds right.
Yeah, I've seen the Classic American group a few times at Good Lake Drag. You guys put on an awesome show.
Yeah, they're a great group. Tracy actually runs the group. She's got a little Nova, and it runs pretty strong. So we've got anything from 10-second cars to guys that are trying to push into the sevens. So it's a little variety, but all the cars are the 70 or older, and they're all Classic American muscle. They're nothing, no foreign cars in our group.
Yeah, you got Tracy, Brooke, and Tina. Those are the three females in the group, right?
Correct.
Then the rest are all guys?
Yeah, I believe so.
So how long have you how long you been running with that group now?
We started running with them in probably September, October of last year. We only got to make a couple of runs with them last year, the Grove, and then first race out, we try to get there as often as we can to run with them, just because it's such a good time. I want to say a little less pressure than actual racing, because we pair up with somebody that's close and just try to put on a good show. It's not competitive points racing or anything like that. We're just out there having fun.
Now, for you, do you have any drag racers that inspire you?
I think all of them. Anybody that has the guts and the heart to strap into a race car is inspiring, and it doesn't matter to me if somebody, if you build your own car, especially somebody that spends the time to build a 10 or 11 second car, on down to obviously the much faster things. But as far as a professional, I've followed the John Forces of, drag racing forever. And I remember back as a kid when he was, couldn't make it to the finish line and couldn't win anything. And he's gone from that to, being one of probably the best to ever, drive a funny car. So, obviously he's probably one of my heroes. I've met him a couple times, and he's a pretty decent guy as well.
Yeah, and he just got his 150th career win.
Yeah, 150 is amazing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's been a long time.
Yes, it is.
So now, for you, when you take the Bel Air out there, do you have any other crew members?
It's my brother and I are the two guys that you'll see there every weekend that the car's out. I won't take it out without him, just because the two of us have built that car from basically the ground up. So anytime the car's out, I'll be driving it, and he'll be the guy either standing in front of it or behind it. But my brother Dave is the one guy that is there all the time. And occasionally we get one of our daughters to come out. Most recently we had his daughter Heather. She's actually a school teacher up in Minnesota, so she had some time off during the summer and was able to come help us out a little bit. And once in a while my daughter Megan, who's a college student, if she's got some time, she'd come out and help us as well.
Awesome. So now, do you have any sponsorship at all?
I do not. Certainly willing to, if you look at the car, there is no names on the side of it anywhere, but certainly willing to put somebody's name on it if the right opportunity came along.
Now, for you, Jeff, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions when you're on the track?
Not really. I do like to go walk on the starting line just to kind of see what it looks like, but if I don't get the opportunity, it's not a big deal. As soon as I get strapped into the car, I don't want to say I go into like a zen feeling, but no matter how hot it is or how cold it is, I just feel at peace sitting there strapped into the car, even if got the helmet on, there's sweat running down your face. It doesn't bother me. It's just once I'm there and just before the car fires up, it's very peaceful for me, and it's probably the most relaxed that I ever am. And then once the car starts up, I get a little shaky and some jitters, and do the burnout and everything goes calm again.
Now, what goes into preparation for you to get that car ready for a weekend of racing?
It depends on what happened the week before. So to give you an idea, this week we had to pull the fuel injection all apart. We had some dirt that got into the fuel tank somehow, and we pulled everything from the fuel cell on up to the metering block of the fuel injection. It all had to come apart. We blew it all out with compressed air and brake clean. And it was just because we were having issues. One of the cylinders, we were chasing it all around, and we had a dead cylinder. And what we found is a little piece of dirt in one of the fuel injectors. So, being that we found dirt in one of them, we decided to pull it all apart and start from scratch, just to make sure there was no dirt on anything. So, that was kind of a unique week. The week before, we blew a tire, so we had to put new front tires on, a new wheel, and then go through the entire car to make sure nothing was bent or out of place. All the bolts were tight after we blew the front tire. So it depends, on what happened the week before, what kind of preparation you really need to put into getting ready for the next week. Some weeks you don't have to do a whole lot and pull the car out and kind of clean it up a little bit and just check over stuff. And other weeks there's a lot more work. So can't give you a perfect answer on that one.
All right. So now, Jeff, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
I ordered most of the stuff through Jegs. So my fire suit and everything came through Jegs. It's an RJ suit. It's an SFI 15 suit. Just because I have the transmission above the floorboard, I do have to have a higher rated fire suit per NHRA rules. So my car is certified through NHRA. I've got my license through NHRA, so we can run it at pretty much any track, whether it's NHRA or IHRA.
Yeah, it's very cool. So, what are some of your favorite tracks to run on, Jeff?
I really like Union Grove. Like I said, part of the reason I really like Union Grove is the return road. I'm really big when it comes to interacting with fans. So if there's a family that walks by, or a little kid that's standing there looking at it and all, my brother and I both make sure that they get to sit in the car, get some pictures taken. Kind of ask a lot of questions. We're trying to help bring up the next generation of drag racers and car enthusiasts. So being able to interact a little more with the crowd at Union Grove is certainly one of my favorites. Haven't run it at Joliet yet, so this will be the first weekend we're going to do that. And rolling underneath the tower at Joliet, I think, is just going to be an impressive, feat. So I'm really looking forward to that one. But honestly, all the tracks are fantastic. Byron, they do a really nice job. The BJ out there is a great guy, and like I said, when I had my incident, he was one of the first ones down there to make sure everything was okay. And Cordova, those guys, I've run with the Pro 85 group out there, and they really took good care of us and were fantastic, always letting us know what's going on, and just a really nice track there as well. So I can't say that I've got a super favorite. I like running all of them.
Now, what would you consider to be have you any milestones that you reached so far?
Oh, milestones. Anytime you hit one of the big barriers, like a 9-second barrier, is certainly a big one. Like I said, the very first time I was in the car, we ran a 924, and that was kind of in and out of the throttle, trying to make sure we didn't break any parts. The first run down the track. So in running less than 9 seconds was certainly a big barrier, and then getting into the 850s was another. We run 160, so now I'm looking for that 165 mark, and with some tweaks to the chassis and turning up the motor, I think we can get there. We're actually not leaning on it very hard at all. We're just trying to get me used to the track or used to the car. I've got less than 25 runs in the car total, so getting me comfortable, making sure the car goes straight every time, making sure we don't have any issues. So that alone is a milestone in my book. Just being able to run at 25 runs without any major catastrophes.
Now, if someone might be listening to this interview right now and they're thinking about getting into drag racing, what kind of advice would you give?
You got to have the passion and the drive to do it. There's certainly not at my level. There's not a lot of money to be won or to have for doing it. We spend thousands of hours working on this car to just go out and more or less have a good time. So you got to have a lot of passion. You got to have the support of your family. And I'm very fortunate. My wife and my brother's wife support us. They don't really like coming to the track because it's a long day and it's hot. There's a lot of work, but they support the fact that we're out there doing it and that we're chasing our dreams. So, just having the support around you, I think, is crucial.
Now, have you ever done any 8th mile racing?
Any what kind of racing?
8th mile.
8th mile, I have not. Just because the rear end in our car is set up for a quarter mile, and it would be a little bit of a challenge for me to. I don't have another third member to throw in it to re-gear the rear end. I suppose I could run it the way it is, but I'm usually shifting gears right about 8th mile, so haven't really done any of that. And not that I'm opposed to it, but I've always been a traditional quarter mile guy. I still don't like it 100% that they've taken professional guys from 1320 down to 1,000 feet. I was really against it back then. I understand that it's done for safety, but I'm a quarter mile guy.
Now, what kind of tires are you running on your car?
I have Goodyears all the way around, and no particular reason. I like the look of a Goodyear tire, and that was just the one that I happened to buy when I put them on there. No real rhyme or reason for it. In my opinion, they work really well. Even when I lost the front tire, the tire never actually came off the rim. So the wheel was bent, but I think it got bent when the tire, it actually blew and slammed the car down onto the pavement. So being that the tire stayed on the rim probably saved me from having a lot more damage to my car. So I'm still a supporter of Goodyear, even though we had that small issue.
All right, now, what was your most memorable win so far?
Probably when I was running with the Pro E85 guys in Cordova. And the reason I say that is we never really raced all that much. I was more of the exhibition car. And, Joe and the guys said, you're with us, you might as well see if you can slow it down to 890 and race with us. So, raced against Frank Morgan in the first round, and fortunately, I cut a little better light than he did, and I was able to bumper race him to the end, and then got to race Randy Lee in the second round. Made it to the finals, and they made us run a little faster than what I was able to do. I didn't even have my chute packed by the time they were calling us for the final round. So, and I need time to get my car to cool down because I don't run water in it. It's just all air cooled. So I wasn't able to make the final, but being able to win those 2 rounds with the Pro 85 group, those guys are fantastic racers, and they run an 890 index, and they are right on it every single time. So I was very, very proud and happy to run with them and B, to be able to compete.
So you said you beat the Assassin?
I did.
Wow.
and I won't let him forget it.
he might be listening right now too. Yeah. So.
No, he may have let me win. I don't know.
He might be looking
But
for
it was
that.
a lot of fun.
He might be looking for that grudge match now.
Anytime he wants, I'll line up next to him.
Yeah. Now, I know you haven't been racing that many years yet so far, but have you had any close calls, like accidents so far at all?
Like I said, the closest we've come to having an accident, quote unquote, is the tire blown. And fortunately, at Byron, there isn't a wall once you get past the shutdown area. Because if there would have been a wall there, I probably would have touched it. Because the car did get off into the grass a little bit. It just got the right side of the car into the grass a little. And until it was able to get slowed down enough to get it back on the racetrack and then into the shutdown for the turnoff area. So that was a close call, and I will tell you that it scared my brother far more than it scared me. I was in the car. I knew what was happening. And all he saw was the car going to the right. He didn't know why. Didn't know, was I knocked out? Was I, broke something? He didn't really know until I got down there and found out that they had a tire that went down, and that was the reason for the whole incident. But as I was standing down there, the EMTs come around the corner, which is, never a great sign. And I got out of the car, and they were asking if I was okay, and I said, honestly, right now, I'm probably calmer than you guys are. And the EMT grabbed my wrist, took my pulse, and she said, actually, right now, your pulse is lower than mine. So, I guess just being in the car and knowing what's going on, I was able to stay calmer than, everything else around me. So that's why I said, I think it scared everybody else more than it scared me.
Well, knock on wood, you're never going to have any accidents.
Let's hope.
All right, let me ask you a few fun questions here, Jeff.
Okay.
Outside of the drag racing thing, you have any hobbies?
Oh, I've got lots of hobbies. The way I can afford my car is rehabbing houses. So my wife makes it a point of my normal job is an account manager for your industrial supplies. So all that money goes towards the house and the kids and college and all the stuff that everybody has to do and just having a family. So I rehab houses usually in the wintertime to make some money for the race car. So that's, I don't know if that's really a great hobby, but it's one of the things that I like to do. My brother and I also build show cars on the side. He's currently building a 46 Ford two-door sedan with a big block Chevy in it. It's got a full Chris Alston chassis under it, with air conditioning and power seats, and we're trying to get that one finished. So a little bit of staying with the cars and then working on houses are probably my two biggest hobbies.
So you don't go fishing no more?
I don't have time to fish anymore. I do fish a little bit. We've got a pond in our backyard. We live in a subdivision, so it's a community pond. And once in a while, my kids will come out and we'll grab some fishing poles and sit there and fish for an hour or so out in the backyard. And a couple weeks ago, it was actually my mom lives next door. She brought some bait down and was sitting there, and we had 3 generations of Lumberts out there fishing in the pond for an hour or so. And it was nice hanging out with grandma and my daughter, and it was very relaxing and an enjoyable time. So we do a little bit of fishing, but I don't get out near as much as I would like. Where Dave, on the other hand, he tries to go fishing almost every day at lunch, and then once a week they go to Minnesota and do a week-long fishing trip there as well.
All right. Now, have you won any trophies so far in the racing?
I have not. So that's something I'm going to have to start working towards, I guess. Like I said, we haven't been doing a lot of competitive racing. We're more just showing off right now. And then, trying to learn when we turn this screw, what does it do to the car? If we spin the bars higher, what happens? So we're still very early on in the learning stage. We haven't really gotten to the competitive racing yet.
Now, if you were able to do time traveling and go backwards in time, would you start your career earlier or no?
I would say probably not. I think you know, as I was younger, I had my kids who were younger, and I was still in the water skiing and the boating phase. So my kids grew up on the water kind of like I did. And then as they got older and kind of started to lose interest in going boating and, hanging out with mom and dad, we decided that it was time to get rid of the boat. And then, I put in a pool for my wife so she was happy. And then shortly after that, I bought the car and decided that it was time to start a new chapter of, let's go racing. Like I said, it took us about 5 years from the day I brought it home until the first time we got it out.
So how many kids do you have?
I have two girls. One is a junior in college, and the other is a senior in high school.
So
two girls is not easy either.
What do they think about drag racing?
The older one loves it. She wishes she could come out with me every time, but she's just so busy with all the extracurriculars she does within the school. She's in a sorority. She's also, I think she's the vice president of the sorority. She does a lot of volunteering around the campus. Her career aspirations are to become a doctor, so she is extraordinarily busy. And the 17-year-old, the senior in high school now, she really doesn't like the loud noise at the drag races, so she's not a huge fan.
All right, now, Jeff, if someone were to come up to you and give you $500 million, they wanted you to build a brand new drag race track, where would you even consider building a brand new drag race track, and what kind of features would you want to put into a brand new drag race track?
A brand new drag race track? I would probably do something similar to what Joliet has. I just think the stadium feel of that track it's incredible. I have not had the privilege to go to one of the four-wide tracks. They look like they'd be a blast to be at when you've got 11,000 horsepower cars going down the track at one time. But being that I've never been there, I'm going to kind of go with what I know, and I like the stadium, the surround kind of feeling of the Joliet track. So that's definitely something I would put in there. And ideally, if at all possible, have a roof over it somehow. I don't know if $500 million is enough to do that, but to take the weather element out of it, I've been did a number of racetracks and the rain comes in and it kind of ends your day early. So if there was a way to eliminate that or significantly reduce it, that would be something that I think would be really cool. And then a cooling state, having the starting line cooled would be another thing. I know that there's a couple of tracks, I believe Denver has the starting line cooled.
Yeah.
So having something like that would also be a feature that I would like to incorporate.
All right, now this question should be easy, fun question, or sometimes it's difficult for some people because they eat a lot of different food. So what's your favorite food to eat?
What kind of food do we eat?
No, what is your favorite food to eat?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's move on to the next one.
All right, what's your favorite beverage then?
Favorite beverage? It's in my family. Neither of us happen to drink any alcohol. Not that we have a problem with it. So if you look in our trailer, we're going to have the refrigerator cram-packed full of Gatorade and water. And that's really the only thing we drink. On a rare occasion, we'll have a soda of some kind, but even that's pretty rare nowadays. So I'm going to have to say Gatorade and water are two beverages.
Now, when you're at the track for a day of racing, do you eat it all, or do you wait till after the races are done?
Do we eat it all?
Yeah, or do you wait till the races are done?
Um, we typically will have. I usually bring a crab pot, and I plug it in around lunchtime, and I'll throw like some frozen Italian beef or something in there, so it'll cook all afternoon. Occasionally we'll throw some Italian sausages in there, so we've got hot Italian sausage, some beef on it. Then we've got a refrigerator. It's actually Dave's oldest daughter's refrigerator from college, and we fit it under the workbench of the trailer. So we've always got the whatever peppers or some people like ketchup or some cheese on their beef. We usually have all that stuff in the refrigerator as well. So I'm kind of cheap when it comes to feeding my crew. And being that it's only me and Dave, our crew is usually fairly small. So we usually just have some snacks in the trailer and then a tiny beef or something easy.
All right. So now, since you've been drag racing, have you had a most embarrassing moment on the tracks yet?
So every time we go out, we try to make sure we don't embarrass ourselves. And that's kind of our biggest thing. Every time we go to the starting line, we ask everybody that was at the starting line that we kind of know, did we do anything stupid that time? Fortunately, we haven't had too big an issue. Now, there has been one time where I tried to leave in second gear, so I hit the trans brake and then mashed the throttle down, and the car rolled through the lights and didn't get a time. And it was because I had it in second gear instead of first gear. So I've had that kind of embarrassing moment. But fortunately, we haven't done anything super dumb. And I would have to attribute that to us just being really focused when we're on the racetrack, not to make ourselves look silly. It's one of my big fears.
All right. Now, so what's your favorite music to listen to, Jeff?
I listen to a lot of the '80s metal music through to if you jump in my car any random day, you could have country music on there. There could be a motivational speaker in the CD player that I've been listening to. So it's a wide variety. Most of the time, it's probably an '80s channel of some kind, or country music. And my wife is a country music fan, so kind of just when she's in the car, she turns it on, and I just leave it.
So, do you have a favorite '80s metal band?
Favorite '80s metal band? Metallica is certainly one of my favorites. It's a great band to kind of rock out to and bang your head a little bit.
Yeah, the hard rock and metal always go good with the drag racing.
Heck yeah.
Like you put out like Motley Crue, Kickstart My Heart.
Yeah, they even talk about Top Fuel Funny Cars on that one.
Yeah. Now, do you have a favorite movie of all time, Jeff?
I like a lot of the action movies, and my wife is one that will tell me anytime Top Gun or Armageddon is on, it seems like I always stop the TV and watch it. And I don't really know why. It's not like there's some fantastic movies. It's just I find them entertaining for whatever reason.
All right, now, when you were growing up as a kid, did you have a favorite cartoon?
I like the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show in the morning. And watching the Roadrunner and the Coyote chasing each other around. That was probably one of my favorites. But I was a kid that grew up in the '80s, so Saturday mornings that's what we did is get up Saturday morning, get your bowl of cereal, go sit down, and watch some cartoons in front of TV.
Yep, I remember those days. Now, if you weren't doing drag racing, what do you think you'd be doing with your life?
I may still be boating. But like I said, we did the boating thing until it kind of ran its course. And the kids decided they weren't, wanting to go boating anymore. And I was getting too old for the barefoot water skiing and the slalom skiing, and and it was getting a little harder on my body. I think I would look for some other kind of racing or something to do. If it wasn't drag racing, I don't know what it would be. I just there's something special about drag racing. It's not you're walking through the pits. You can talk to not only the drivers, but the car owners and the guys who are doing the work on the cars. You can have a conversation with them. Most of them are more than willing to let you get really close or sit in their cars if you're that interested. And it's almost like a car show as you're walking around the pits. You see some really fantastic work that people have done to cars, whether it's the paint jobs or just the engineering to get cars from a street car to being an 8 or a 9 second car. There's just so much effort and work that needs to go into one of them. So it's not just you buy a big motor and you throw it in and you're ready to go. There's lots of engineering that goes into it. So it's just one of those things that I don't think any other motorsport has quite the interaction that drag racing has.
Yeah, and then the more and more people you meet, that you just get a bigger family.
Yeah, and the guys who are out there, or guys and girls who are out there racing, and if you need anything, you ask one of them, and if they don't have it, they'll help you find it. It's just an incredible family. The group they're like a big family.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if you're a guy like me running on a fairly minimal budget that put a car together that he thinks is just something neat. Or if we had a number of the Chicago White guys come and talk to us the last time we were at Cordova, just because they thought it was something different they hadn't seen before. And when we walk down to their trailer, they're just as friendly as when they walk to ours. So, it's just a fantastic group out there. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you're in a 14-second car or if you're in a 6-second Pro Mod.
Yep. So now, for you, Jeff, what would you consider to be the fondest memory of your drag racing career?
The fondest memory, probably the very first time I took it down the track. Uh, the look on my brother's face. I was out of the car, kind of standing down there, wrapping the chute up, and kind of collecting my own thoughts, and the smile on his face as he came down. It was like we finally did it. We only ran a 924, but we built something that was able to run first of all that fast without doing a whole lot of tweaking and everything. It went nice and straight. So probably that very first run would be my memorable right now. Just because everything finally came together. It was 5 years worth of work that finally, we made that first run.
Now, if anybody's listening to this interview and they're like curious to, see you race this, that beautiful Chevy Blair, what's the way for them to find out where you're going to be at?
I'm usually on Facebook. If I'm going to an event, I'll put it on Facebook. Certainly send me a friend request. It's just Jeffrey Lumbert. So search for me. I've got the picture of the car on Facebook. So send me a friend request, and I don't deny anybody. So more than happy. The more the merrier in my book. And if you're interested or somebody has a question, you can certainly message me through Facebook. I'm more than happy to answer questions or do whatever it takes to do something for a fan as well.
Now, how important do you think it is for kids to come out and watch drag racing in this day and age?
I think it's very important. I think they need to understand, uh, what it takes to, pursue your dreams. Whether your dream is drag racing or whether it's, running a company, whatever that dream is, you have to chase it and you have to work really hard to get it. And I think at the drag strip, you see that every single day. And again, it doesn't matter if it's a guy that's working on the car that he drove to the drag strip and he's trying to make it run in the 13s because he's in the 14s now. To the guys that are got these 18 wheelers and they got hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in their car. In order to get to that point, they had to start somewhere. And I think you can see the whole progression when you're at the drag strip. And it's great for kids to experience what it takes to get from point B.
All right, now I want to thank you very much for taking time to do an interview, Jeff.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You have any final words or thank yous, any kind of stuff you want to do before I close?
I would like to say thank you to my brother Dave. Like I said, I couldn't do it without him. The two of us have built that car from the ground up. He's done all the paint work, all the lettering, everything that you see on the car was done by one of the two of us. So if anybody needs any tips or would like to have a paint job done, reach out to us. I'm not saying that we could or couldn't do it, but if it's something that's really cool and there's a lot of passion around it, you never know what might happen. White Eagle Auto Body in Oswego also they were kind enough to let us use their paint booth to spray the clear on, the final coat of clear when we're doing that. So certainly thanks to White Eagle and that whole team as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jeff, for doing an interview.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
And hopefully see you at the track on Labor Day weekend at the Grove.
I certainly will. Make sure you stop by and say hi.
Definitely. So you have a great night, and thanks again.
Well, thank you.
And I wish you good luck at Route 66.
Yeah, anybody that wants to, like I said, sit in the car, stop by, tell them you heard it on the podcast here. I will make sure that we get you seated in that car and get your picture taken. If you want the belts on and the whole 9 yards, we can do that. Just love to talk to the fans that are out there.
Now, Route 66 is this Saturday?
This Saturday, the 17th.
Okay, so if you want to come out and see Jeff, come out this Saturday at Route 66 in Joliet, Illinois.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks again, Jeff.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a great night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.